Hello YouTube, Chris from Computer Stuff. After a brief hiatus, we are back with some very exciting content to send your way. But the first video we want to kick off with is on a Dell Inspiron laptop. Very specifically, this is the Inspiron 14 5000 series 2-in-1. That means it's the 14-inch form factor, which just so happens to be my favorite form factor in a laptop these days. But this one has the 2-in-1 screen where it can kind of fold into a tablet, and you can use it as sort of like an iPad or during classrooms to draw on with a pen, that kind of thing. Anyway, what we want to find out today is and by the way, the 5000 series laptops from Dell are always kind of their like middle to higher end machines. It's where Dell starts really kind of amping up the qualities and the power and some other things in the actual laptop. 3000 being their sort of entry level, 5000 being their sort of run of the middle, and then the 7000 series being the sort of higher end of the Inspiron series. And then of course you then go to the XPS. But anyway, I digress. What we want to find out today is if this Inspiron 14 5000 series is any good, and if you should buy one yourself. Today's review is going to come with some exciting new changes. We are finally going to start doing actual brightness tests on the screens, of which we have some fun, exciting numbers to send your way. And then on top of that, we are also going to be doing a rating system, basically a best out of 10 type deal. We started doing that at one point or another, kind of drifted away from it, but we're gonna try to shoot this video off with doing it again. So anyway, let's move right along. While we're on the subject of the display, this one has a 14-inch panel. It is touch, multi-touch to be very specific. It is glossy, but it does help kind of manage itself in bright lights pretty well. In other words, you've got our overhead lighting. You can even see it in the camera there. You've got our overhead lighting, although when I edit it out, you may not be able to see it in the camera. Who gives a shit? So, it does manage itself very well for a glossy display. Basically, if you're like on a college campus outside working in front of bright lights, this kind of thing, I don't think you're gonna have a whole lot of issues with glare and kind of getting in the way. Some of Dell's displays that are glossy had a tendency to kind of really reflect light, and it was kind of annoying, but this one does a pretty good job at that. Having said that, though, the panel all in is not particularly good. For starters, it's an HD panel, which means it's 1366 by 768 resolution, and I think that there is absolutely no excuse that in 2022 there is a laptop released with anything other than an FHD panel. Absolutely no excuse. As a result, what you are left with is a very pixelated, kind of flat and washed out panel. It just doesn't really look all that good. And even though it gets very practically bright, which I will get into in a moment here, even though it gets very practically bright and doesn't have a lot of glare on it, looking at it is just not all that exciting. It's a little bit fatiguing to the eyes. And for that matter, another thing I don't like is that Dell has a tendency to make very good color calibrated panels. And in this case, they didn't really touch on that either. All in, when you look at the panel, it just kind of looks flat and just not really, I don't know, it looks like, it looks flat, like a day-old beer. It doesn't look very nice. But the other kicker is that this panel is rated at 200 nits, but we were only able to get it to 148 nits. So there's a little bit of a discrepancy there as well. All in, we are gonna rate this panel a 4 out of 10 because even though it has some very good viewing angles and is a wide viewing IPS display, we are incredibly disappointed with the washed out color and the low resolution screen. The touch capabilities on it are pretty good, and it is responsive and nice to sort of touch and everything like that, but it is just a really low quality panel, all of those things aside. And we really think Dell made a misstep on that. To kick off some specs on this thing, this one comes with a 256 gigabyte NVMe solid state drive, which is upgradable. It also has 8 gigabytes of RAM, which is also upgradable. It has 2 RAM slots in it, so you can go ahead and upgrade both RAM slots to a maximum of, I believe, 32 in this case, which is kind of a nice touch. And it also has the 11th generation i3 processor. So what you're left with in terms of benchmarks are, let me just go ahead and go to the benchmark here. What you're left with in terms terms of benchmark is a 13 in gaming, 75% in desktop, and then an 11% in workstation. That is according to user benchmark. What that means is that this thing is a little productivity badass. It just is gonna crunch out all of those Excel spreadsheets, Word documents, PowerPoints, Outlook, multiple Chrome and Firefox tabs. It will just basically knock out every single thing that you need to do with it in terms of your day-to-day office, nonprofit, college, student type things. That said though, it's not really going to be all that good for gaming, although with the very low resolution screen in there, you could probably get away with doing stuff like maybe even some AAA titles on some very low settings. So certainly do like Minecraft, that kind of thing, but it's just not a gaming computer. The only thing really saving it is the fact that the monitor just doesn't have to drive a whole lot of pixels. The display also isn't HDR, so if you're looking to do any kind of HDR editing, viewing, gaming, that kind of thing, you're shit out of luck right there. And then in terms of doing anything like video or audio editing and processing, it probably doesn't quite have the horsepower to chunk that stuff out either. You're definitely not gonna be able to do any kind of 4K editing of any kind because the display in it is so low resolution. And as far as audio processing is concerned, it just doesn't quite have the power to drive all of those audio related tasks. So, which is kind of a shame because the input and output on this thing is quite phenomenal, but I'm gonna get into that a little bit more later. In terms of features on this laptop, we have a backlit keyboard, but the keyboard annoyingly, you know what? Before I get into my gripes about the keyboard, let's stick with the features, Chris, shall we? It has a backlit keyboard, which is really, really nice. It has a webcam at the top with a little privacy shutter that you can close in case you want to dance around naked in front of your computer. And then it has a little dual microphone array at the top. Here's what that webcam and microphone footage sounds like now. This is the quality you can expect from the Dell Inspiron 5000 series, 2-in-1. As you can see, the quality is like, I mean, it's okay for Zoom and it's okay for like The Office, but you're not gonna maybe wanna like shoot any kind of major Hollywood films with it. As you can see, it is decent. I mean, you know, it'll get the job done for again, like student / office related tasks, but it's definitely not, you know, it looks like a Michael Bay movie, I suppose. Anyway, more features on this thing. Comes with Wi-Fi 6, the new AX stuff, so super, super fast Wi-Fi, and it does have Bluetooth in it as well, but it does not have a Windows Hello compatible fingerprint scanner or camera. So in terms of features, it is okay. It gets about like a 6 out of 10, I guess, with features. It's average, run-of-the-mill. Nothing really too exciting to stand out. Might even be like 5 out of 10 in terms of features, but we're gonna be nice and give it a 6 out of 10. Moving along to the speakers on this laptop. It has Dell's Max audio system, which doesn't mean crap. The speakers on it are okay. They're a little tinny. They're not really full bodied, but they do get fairly decently loud. Not a whole lot of bass, but it does have some pretty good highs and mids with not a whole lot of distortion. In summary, you'll be able to listen to like a podcast or watch a movie with some friends. This thing probably would be good if you're like a college kid or something and you're all kind of sitting around the laptop like watching Netflix or Hulu or something like that. Again, screen gets bright enough, great viewing angles, and the speakers will get loud enough for everybody to hear. But that said, if you want any kind of meaningful high fidelity for like audio or music listening, this kind of thing, you are going to want a nice set of headphones to plug in. Speakers on this laptop are awarded a 6 out of 10, which is just a nudge above average, which, you know, again, I think we're being a little generous there. So it's a 6 out of 10. Now let's get to the keyboard on this computer. It is silver keycaps, which, dude, stop with the fucking silver keycaps. It's done, it's over. It means you can't see the keys really all that easily or all that well. And I know I'm gonna get people in the comment section talking about how, well, I don't need to see the keycaps because I can type with A, S, D, F and the home row keys and all this other stuff, except that there are some people that do want to see the keys on the keycaps, and with silver, you can't really. It does have a backlight on the keyboard, which is nice, but that's really still not a very redeeming fact that you can't see the keys. I mean, I'm looking at the damn thing, right? I mean, I'm 34 years old. I can barely see the keys on this thing. I've got decent eyes, people. I only wear glasses sometimes. But it's tactile. It feels good to type on. Everything is sort of accurate and kind of like it feels good and clicky in the hands, and the keys don't like shake or move all that much. I think I scored something like 98 words per minute which for me is like, again, kind of in the average-ish, like I think I get like 120 words per minute on like some of the Apple laptops and stuff. So still very, very decent keyboard. Keyboard, we are going to go ahead and award a, I'm gonna say 5 out of 10. You know, it doesn't have a full-size keypad, so if you're like an accountant or somebody doing a lot of data entry, which on a 14-inch laptop, those are kind of hard to come by. But the point is it doesn't have one of those. It's got silver keycaps. They do feel good and they're pretty accurate and precise. Even so, we're gonna go with like 5. We're gonna go with like 5 out of 10. Trackpad. It's big and luxurious. It's actually a really good size. And it's what Dell calls their like precision touchpad, which really doesn't mean anything. It's got a good kind of firm click. It might even be a little bit too firm, like a little too hard to press down on, but nevertheless got a good firm click. It's mostly accurate, like it generally goes where you point it to and with fairly little issue. And it doesn't float or ghost, so that means it doesn't feel like the cursor's kind of like on ice, which is kind of nice too. And it does have good multi-gesture dual, like it just kind of like when you try to do a right click with 2 fingers, it just knows that you're doing it. It's a decent touchpad. As a result, we are going to go ahead and give it a 7 out of 10. And I think that, you know, it might even be closer to like the 8 out of 10-ish area. I mean, there's really not a whole lot they could have done to improve upon it other than maybe make it like slightly more accurate. Like for something called the precision trackpad, it's only like, but so precise, but all in it's a decent trackpad. So at least they got that part down. Input and output on this computer though. Let's talk about it, shall we? On this side, we've got a full-size SD card, which a lot of people are gonna be very happy with. Got a full-size USB super speed port. We can plug in a mouse or like an external hard drive, something like that. Little spot, little jack for your headphones too, when you want to pop in those Shores or those Bose or whatever to get that nice 3D audio experience. Then of course you got Kensington lock here because everybody uses Kensington lock. And then on this side, you've got a USB-C 3.2 port, which is capable of doing like a display or all of that other fun, really super fast data transfer stuff that 3.2 is capable of. So you can plug in like a solid state external hard drive for quick data transfers. You know, it's like when you have that kind of power in a port, you want it to be able to do things like video editing and audio editing and things like that. So you can like edit on the drive directly. But you're not really gonna be able to do that on here, and I'll get back into that again more later. Another super speed port right there, full-size HDMI, and then of course, where you plug it in, because it's 2022 and the laptop doesn't run on solar energy. That said, we are gonna go ahead and give this laptop a 9 out of 10 in terms of the I/O. The I/O is basically fantastic. I really actually don't know how they could have improved upon it other than giving the computer itself better specs to be able to utilize that beautiful input and output. It really is top-notch I/O. Moving right along. Battery life on this laptop is going to be sitting somewhere around the practically 10 to 11 hour range. That means that if you are like surfing the web and have like maybe some audio and stuff playing in the background, you're going to be able to get probably about a good 10 to 11 hours, which we consider to be a practically speaking all-day use. That means that if you are a college student or a traveler, somebody floating in and out of an airport, you're going to be able to pretty much use this thing on battery for the duration of your flight, your travel. You're going to in and out of classrooms, this kind of thing. And all in, like, we think that the battery life, now here's an interesting thing about the battery life actually. So you can, if you pop open the bottom cover, and it's fairly easy to do, it's just got a few screws on there. If you pop open the bottom cover, that is where you will of course reveal your NVMe and your RAM and this kind of stuff. But it also has, well, the battery in there, of course. Oddly enough though, they like left more space for a bigger battery. Now, we tried to find a Inspiron 14 5000 series that utilized that extra battery space, and we couldn't find one. So Dell planned to have a model with a bigger, longer lasting battery, but they just didn't put it in this one, and I guess that's okay. But nevertheless, you could find another Dell battery aftermarket and mount that in there and probably get somewhere maybe even in the 16-hour battery mark. So anyway, just a juicy little interesting tidbit that we thought was kind of cool. So battery life, 8 out of 10. Okay. As far as some residual notes and comments that I want to make about this laptop, It is a fairly quiet machine. Under normal operation, you cannot hear it at all. It doesn't make a peep. That said, when it does start cranking away at some of those hard-hitting tasks, the fan will kind of buzz a little bit, but we want to make a big recommendation to anybody buying any laptop, much less a Dell, but specifically these Dell laptops, you will want to update your BIOS and your drivers almost immediately out of the box. Dell and Lenovo and HP, all of them, they're all guilty of the same thing, but they tend to ship these computers with old images, meaning that like you're getting something that's kind of like just doesn't have all the latest drivers and things. It's not optimized. So if you go to Dell.com, you click on the support tab and go to download all your latest drivers, just let the thing do it automatically. Windows 11's update system will also tend to just do it automatically. And that will sort of optimize things and make sure that everything sort of is running fast and cool and quiet. It is a necessity. So stop watching this video for like 1 second and go update your computer. But in that vein, the computer itself is just, it feels very good in the hands. Like it is a, like all in just a good quality feeling machine. If not a little bit thick and maybe a little bit heavy, it just like, it feels good to touch. It's made out of premium materials. We feel like it's gonna last a long time and be able to take a beating. So if you're like somebody that is unkind to your laptops or your computers and you tend to kind of abuse them a little bit, again, if you're a college kid throwing it into a backpack and it's ruffling around with other books and pens and kinds of getting scratched and stuff, we do think that it is going to last a long time. Same with the hinges, everything just kind of feels good and crisp and sturdy. Yeah, it'll patina well. I mean, don't throw it out of a window, but it's built good. It's good built, goodly built. Who is this computer for? Well, we don't really think it's for like accountants, and just really specifically because it doesn't have that numpad for data entry. We also don't really think that it is for gamers or video editors or audio processors. You probably could use this thing, I take that back slightly. You probably could use this thing for like, if you're a podcaster, you could use this thing, or like maybe like a mobile audio studio, then this would probably do quite well. With that USB-C I/O, you can pop in some switches, some microphones, and all kinds of fun things to kind of make this thing like an all-in little mobile studio. The problem is that editing software on this screen is going to be terrible, because you have this low resolution, so the timelines and all the stuff that you're going to be working with, effects and things, are just going to look really, really janky. 14-inch form factor, I think, is the best form factor for a laptop, but they really missed the mark with this display. We do think that it is probably for like nonprofits, somebody needing a sort of slightly more premium laptop, and we also think it would be very good for like travelers and college students as well. If we like crunch all the numbers together that we did on our like out of 10 scale, we get basically about a 6 to 6.5 out of 10. And I think that is a fair number. This laptop costs about $429 when it's on sale, maybe about $450 when it's not on sale. That is okay. Oh, what did I get? Let's go back slightly. We want to look at cool shapes on the screen. That is okay value. It is, it's okay. I think it's earned its thing here. So 6.5 out of 10, that's a fair number. Should you go buy one yourself? Yeah, if you want like a 14-inch laptop that you can kind of beat up, and maybe it's like your daily driver. Why is the start menu up there? Then I'd say it's probably not so bad. Again, $430. I don't know. You decide. Thanks for watching. Please like and subscribe. We're very excited to be bringing you some more videos here really soon. We're throwing around the idea of doing like a Patreon or something like that. Also like an Ask Your Tech segment, Tech Talk. Maybe we'll call it Tech Talk. Basically, you can ask me whatever the hell you want, and I'll answer it. I'll answer all your tech questions. Yeah, reach out to us in the comments section. Send us some love. We will be back with another video really, really soon.